where boy meets wins and where wins meets girl, or something like that. The folks over at Where Winds Meet reached out and asked us to take a look at their game. Neither of us knew much about Where Winds Meet going into it, but a couple of our friends had mentioned they thought we'd like it. So when the creators asked us to give our first impressions, we were like, yeah, it sounds like fun. Pat the baby.
Give it the little baby head pats. How is it still snoozing?
Where Winds Meet is a Wuxia open-world action RPG set in the world of martial arts. The hearsay that's made its way to us is that it's got a super fun combat system that's very rewarding to learn, and probably most importantly of all, there's no pay to win. The game is free to play, with paid content being limited to cosmetics, which means as long as I can keep Taryn reined in, we should be good to go. Part of why they reached out to us is that they're releasing a massive update to the opening area of the game. According to them, it and all future content updates and DLC will always be released completely for free, which is nice because I hate being on the hook for things in games, especially if they're fun. Anyways, we'll share more about the update later on. We got to get into the game and see what the heck this is all about. So this is like you haven't played an MMO like this before, so go with the ARPG. You'll be a little more comfortable with that. And I'll do it too, so we're on the same settings.
Okay.
Something interesting that Where Winds Meet does is that it segments the game experience. They've got the online mode, which is for the people who want a typical MMO experience with lots of player interaction, or the solo mode, which is for the ones who want to play the game like an RPG and just carve their own way forwards. You could say it's for those who stand alone. It's an interesting take, since usually the two of us enjoy MMOs for the social and collaborative aspects, but honestly most MMOs these days have us playing separately but together anyways. Shared journey or lone wanderer. Taryn, obviously shared journey, right? So with that being said, obviously the two of us wanted to play together. So that's the goal we're chasing after first. Early on. Yeah, I want to play with you early on.
Yeah.
Do that. When we started the game, we were given the choice between the two modes, and by picking shared journey, it seemed like we'd be placed on an accelerated track to squatting up with each other. For now, we're following the main quest line until we bump into any wandering girlfriends. We're getting some story. Oh, shit.
When you're like a little bit ahead of me.
It was bound to happen. Don't worry about it. The story starts out with some background on our main protagonist. Taryn and I will actually be playing as that baby from the title screen, and this prologue kind of serves as a power trip of what's to come later in the game.
It's you.
Jean Yan is our adoptive father, and he's kitted out with some incredibly fun skills and powers already.
I feel like the baby should not be here during the tutorial.
He's chilling. He's got his favorite music on. He's good. It's a nice taste of what we can assume high-level gameplay will be like. We got horses, so we're off to a good start here. That said, this was the first sample of the combat we got, and I immediately realized why our friends thought we might enjoy the game. I recently just replayed Puppet Souls and its DLC, so I have parrying on the brain. And playing this game couldn't have come at a better time because of that. Deflection. Press E just before the hit to deflect. Ooh, we got some parry systems in this game, Tangirl.
Oh, I like parrying.
I know you do. It seemed like this game did take some inspiration from the Perfect Guard system because it has similar red attacks that are unguardable, undodgeable, and must be deflected. They also include these yellow attacks that work the same, but instead are undeflectable and can only be dodged. Oh, that's a dodge. How do you dodge? Space? Ow. How do you dodge again? Shift? Shift. Okay. The game certainly earns some points for style, and it makes deflecting worth the trouble of learning by being extremely rewarding once you get the enemy pattern down. That first boss battle was a nice showcase of what the game has in store, but we've only just scratched the surface, so we'll circle back to the combat later on our stories. Oh, geez, that was big. That was big. Well, that was a win? We got him. Good work, baby. For now, the prologue has come to an end, and it's time for this baby to grow up. That can mean only one thing. We've finally made it to Taryn's favorite part of the game, the character creator.
He's so cool. Character customization.
I'm coming at you from years of experience here. If a game wants to win over girls' heart, all it really needs is a character creator. Where Winds Meet has very robust tools for customization, with hundreds of facial presets to choose from, and all of girls' favorite colors and sliders to boot.
Okay, see, now we're talking.
No kidding, as soon as we got into the menu, I got a call from my brother and knew it was safe to take it because there was no chance Taryn would be finished by the time I got back. This is from Hammy. I'm going to take the call.
Yeah.
By the time I did get back, Taryn hadn't even settled on an eye color yet. So what I'm saying is buckle up because there's a lot to talk about and she expects me to be thorough.
I'm very much liking these eyelash options. Oh, she's so pretty.
There's your typical customizer where you can go in and adjust eye distance and nose size and all that jazz, but they've done some other cool things as well. For one, people can upload their creations to a catalog, and you can download and use any face someone's already made. Not to mention the people who make these are extremely talented. There are celebrities, cartoon characters, other video game characters. I mean, you can really take your pick. Probably my favorite thing is they have a photo uploader where you can upload a picture of a character you like, and their customizer will analyze the face and adjust the sliders to match it as closely as possible.
That's you.
Is that you with a picture, but you like change your eyes and stuff?
No.
Oh, this is some insane tech for boyfriends everywhere. I was telling a buddy of mine about it, and he was like, dude, if every game had that, we could have so much more time on double date night. The girls are always giving us a hard time for doing a run of Slay the Spire while they design their characters, but I'm telling you, if more games had this, we could literally save marriages. I can't imagine why you would want to customize when you could do this, Taryn. Look at what I've done here. This is gonna absolutely revolutionize the boyfriend character creation pipeline. Okay. I'm not quite done messing around with the photo uploader yet, as I absolutely had to see what it would create if I uploaded Taryn or my faces to the creator. And let's just say the results didn't disappoint. Oh, he's beautiful, Taryn.
No!
That's me! Half the fun for Taryn is designing her character and tweaking the sliders, so she wasn't as enthusiastic about trying the upload method, but hey, more for me, I guess. It was great because I just started uploading every Discord emoji on my hard drive and watched the system try its best to sculpt the face around them. Wait, I want to have some fun with this before we move on. Let me try a couple other faces that we have lying around. Sometimes it couldn't come up with a result because the images I used were too hard to read, but other times it spit out the most magnificent characters to ever grace the screen. They really nailed the smile, I gotta say. Like, the smile is perfect. Like, that is such a little smork. It's the eyes that are the problem, so maybe I just need to wear this. I'd settled on one that I liked, but Taryn was like, if you want to play together, you're gonna need to go home and change. That's me, Taryn. The main issue is that Animal Crossing characters don't have eyebrows, so the system kept generating faces with no hair or eyebrows. Okay, that's Noiki. There you go.
I got so alarmed about the eyebrows.
Where is his hair? There we go.
He needs eyebrows.
Yeah, wait a minute. Where are my eyebrows?
Well, your character doesn't have eyebrows.
Oh, but the Smork has eyebrows?
Yeah.
The Smork face has eyebrows, so that one worked, but still Taryn took issue with it. What about your Smork? Do you think your Smork could do some numbers? You look badass! I gotta use your face, apparently. Look at your face! In the end, relationships are built on compromise, so I bit the bullet and pulled up a photo of the two of us from a coffee shop we took last winter and let it design the real me. God, you look so cute in that picture, Taryn. All right, what does like actual my face look like? Let's see. Yo, the face reveal that everyone's been waiting for, Taryn. That's what I look like. There's my actual face. She may not like the game's interpretation of my face, but this is what peak Wuxia boy looks like, Taryn. Get over it. God, my guy is brooding so hard, Taryn. I see this as a complete win for boys everywhere, frankly. This was a great leap for boyfriend kind. Anyways, I think that's enough about the character creator. Once we're in the game proper, we get to meet our protagonist and start building out our skills. There's a storyline we're following where the medallion we had as a baby gets stolen here at the beginning, and we're trying to figure out who took it and why.
No, my necklace, no!
There's some loose objectives to follow, but the world does open up quite a bit and let us go in whatever direction we please. From a quick glance at the menus, it looks like we need to get to level 10 before we unlock the ability to play online. So for now, we're going to try to level up, loosely follow the main quest, and hopefully have a blast while doing it.
Are there honeys?
Oh, there's honeys, Taryn. We start out in this area called Qinghe, and many of the starting objectives in the area help introduce us to some of the mechanics of the game. We can fill out the map by talking to these wayfarer guys, and this one asks us to take care of a bear down by the river. My girlfriend and I assumed that meant we were going to fight it, but apparently the bear knows martial arts, and we observe it using Tai Chi to try and get a beehive out of a tree. Skill theft. We're learning from bears.
That is so cool.
Oh my god, we just mastered bear chi, Taryn. Holy shit. We then turned the bear's own skills against it and Tai Chi'd him to get him to leave. Let's parry the bear. Bury the pear.
Whoa!
With that beehive we found, we can trade it in with this other guy who got stuck in a rock, and he helps us unlock a new weapon. This is my kind of game when we're delivering beehives to people. There are 4 weapons available, and each one looks like it falls into a different category. You've got your support weapon, a tank one, and then ranged and melee damage dealers. Taryn grabbed the umbrella because she thought it looked cool, and I figured grabbing the tank build might be a good choice if the two of us were going to synergize in a group. Okay, so the parrying is very fun. The main quest wants us to go up the road, but there are a ton of enemies peppering the fields in the surrounding area, which are perfect for practicing with our new movesets. To be completely honest with you, Taryn ended up pulling way ahead of me in the main storyline because I was having a lot more fun fighting randos in the field. There's like some Soulsy type stuff going on, which I like. Like players can like leave messages on the ground.
Uh-huh.
Which have actually been surprisingly helpful. Like none of them are like try jumping.
Oh,
Which
okay.
is, you know, nice.
Yes.
The weapon I picked was slow and heavy, so I really had to learn the timings of the enemy attacks to figure out my punish windows. That said, since it had such a long reach and these sweeping swings, it was pretty good at taking out groups. On the flip side, Taryn was living her best life by literally floating above the competition and raining hell down upon them.
It's so fun. I won!
Is it possible there's truly treasure here?
Well, I see a treasure chest right here.
I don't know if it was my fault, but since I deviated so much from the main path, I ended up kind of breaking the main story quest. I mean, I really like the combat. Like, I just am running up and killing people because I can't figure out this quest. I went to the shrine that Taryn was at, where there was supposed to be some kind of fight arena taking place. Taryn was challenging a bunch of the different people around the ring, and it looked like fun, so I wanted to get in on the action. The bad news is, for some reason, the guy I was meant to face first wasn't spawning, so I couldn't start the quest. I got stuck running around the shrine for like half an hour talking to everyone trying to figure out why I couldn't progress, but no dice. Where is Fang Zhu? Which one of you guys is Fang Zhu? I'm here to fight. I hate having to do this, but I ended up checking online to see if maybe I'd missed a step in the quest or something, but it turns out this was a bug a lot of people were complaining about running into. The game loses some points for me because of that, but we're gonna make do regardless. Apparently this is bugged. A lot of people are having this issue, which... love that. So while Taryn continues on her main quest, I'm going to keep exploring the surrounding area, and we'll tip her off on anything cool I discover. Lift this up. It's like a Korok puzzle. This is sweet. Put it there. Look at that. But instead of Koroks, we get cats with clothes. It's kind of a good trade, not gonna lie.
I like it.
It's funny because even though she's following the main objectives, I've pulled significantly ahead of her in level because I think I might be battling some higher level things. I'll check back at the shrine occasionally and see if the quest unbreaks itself, because from what I've read online, completing other quests around seems to fix it after some time. That just killed me. Oh my god. There's like these cloth things down here that just like exploded when I walked into them, I guess. In the meantime, I'll take this as an opportunity to share a little bit about some of the cool stuff on the horizon for this game and why the creators asked us to play it in the first place. A brand new update's coming to the Qinghe region, and with it an awesome reason to begin your own journey. This new update introduces a lot of cool new things that we're both excited to try. They're adding the homestead system, which allows you to build a place to call your own. The housing system's fully customizable, and even includes farming, which caught a girl's attention. Perhaps what she loved even more than that, though, was the new cat companion.
Hi, kitty. Aww. Cat affection level up.
Cat affection? What is that for?
I'm petting a cat.
Yes, they're adding companions to the game that will follow you around in the open world. The cats will dig in the sand, purr when pet, and take naps when the opportunity comes up. With a companion, you'll never feel like you're exploring alone. The update's also adding team challenges and fun event modes, so it's bound to have a little something for everyone. By the time of this upload, it should be live, so if you're interested in seeing it for yourself, you can use our link in the description to get started. Alright guys, well the good news is I finally managed to get Fang Zhu to show up at the shrine while I was raving about Qinghe. Oh, thank God, there's actually people here now. After taking him out and wrapping up the rest of the story quest, we finally hit level 10 and can swat up. We won. Oh, Jesus, he had that bug in his eye, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a problem, though. Upon closer inspection, it was the online mode that was gated behind reaching level 10. It turns out we've been able to cooperate this entire time.
Oh my God, wait, it's working! Ah!
My game is still loading in.
Same. Oh my God, when I loaded in, I didn't have a head.
Okay, I am just a waste with no torso. Oh, okay. Things are coming back. Did I have a head? I can't remember. Oh yeah, I did have a head when I logged out. Whoops, that sounds about right. Oh well, all's well that ends well. Honestly, it was probably a good thing we got to learn how the game worked in a solo environment before we started playing together. Otherwise, things may have gotten confusing.
Oh my god, it's snakes! No! Horse, stay away.
What in the hell?
Right there?
Okay, hold on. After joining each other, we realized that co-op works a little differently than the solo mode. You're limited to how much you can actually do in co-op mode, and it's the host that makes the progress.
It said for me, observe is co-op restricted.
Oh, we can't observe skills when we're in co-op?
So you can do it, but I don't think I can do it.
Oh, that's too bad. The two of us were hoping there'd be more to discuss once we got into a squad, but pretty quickly we realized that playing the game in solo mode was a lot more fun than cooperatively, which may sound like sacrilege since the two of us are obsessed with co-op, but in Where Winds Meet, it just wasn't jiving quite as much as the solo mode was. But what about you? I want you to have the skill too.
Wait, so keep observing?
I will
Am I
continue to
in?
observe. At the end of the day, this is an MMO, so while we can't speak to how long-term progression feels from just one weekend of playing, we could say that the initial game progression and story has been a lot of fun. I really felt like the exploration phase was the highlight for me and Taryn. And although we were in a rush to squad up and do stuff together, once we finally did, we kind of realized we enjoyed the journey more than the destination.
We're Wuxia warriors.
I really liked their take on combat, and while not nearly as difficult as something like Souls, it still makes you feel like you're using your head to win encounters. The early progression phase of our journey was definitely the highlight, and I'll be curious to see how their additions to Qinghe add to the experience. Thank you again to the folks from Where Winds Meet for sponsoring this video and letting us try out their game. If you want to be a part of Taryn's adventures in games live, make sure to check us out on Twitch where we stream 3 days a week. As always, I have to extend a massive thank you to our Patreon and channel supporters. Thank you all for supporting Taryn and I, and extra special thanks goes out to our sixth wheelers: Daniel Rogers, Gizmo, Isaac Fogan, David Webb, Mace, Gray is Sleepy, Taco Supreme, Parav Skittles, Envy, Cry, Regulus, Serena Sane, Blaze of Fire, Miss the Fox, Blondes, Shane Boy, and Cerberus. That's all I got for you today. We'll see you in the next one.